here at our Legends Assemble lineup here and this pack, and we're gonna make a tier list out of these players so we know who is in the pack, and we're gonna see, who are the players that you should pick if you're gonna, use your nomination contract here. Who are the best players to pick? So let's move on here and let's go to eFootball Hub, and we're gonna take these epic players, I guess, one by one, and we're gonna start from the highest rated of the players, and we're gonna put them in this list, and we're trying to, I guess, figure out who to pick, who not to pick, depending on what kind of player you are. If you are a free-to-play player or if you are a pay-to-win player, the choice perhaps will be different. Perhaps there's already legends and epic players that you have in this list. And of course, you're not going to pick twice, like a second time, a player that you already have. But so we'll start with the first one, and that's going to be Fabio Cannavaro. Perhaps, the best in this list. Let's see. Cannavaro. Fabio Cannavaro, here he is. So the highest rated one, he's the only 87 rated player, one of the best defenders of this game. He goes into the S tier, and it's going to be one of the few cards here in this selection that are going to get this spot. And, he is one of the best defenders in this game. Perhaps not the best defender. The only downside of Fabio Cannavaro is his size. He is a little bit on the smaller size. He's less than 180. And because of that, it can give you problems in the game. He's very good at defending against players that are smaller. Let's say like Romario's and Messi and guys like that. But of course, if he's matched up against someone like Jan Koller or Haaland, then his size is going to be a problem and he's going to lose the aerial challenges. And because of that, you have to see what is the matchup against him. And perhaps that's why he's included here, because yes, he is a top defender in this game, but he's still a top defender with a sort of a downside and not an absolute total beast like Frank Rijkaard, which I assume like players like Rijkaard, Vieira, Gullit, they are never going to be given for free in this game, at least not a top version. In the 30th anniversary, you had Frank Rijkaard, but it was Frank Rijkaard from 2 years ago. They're never going to give you like the current version of a Frank Rijkaard for free. So the next one is going to be Oliver Kahn. And I was actually quite surprised that they put him in there. Look at this guy, and he is a top-rated goalkeeper in this game. If I was to rank those goalkeepers, I would say Petr Cech is the number one, then perhaps Peter Schmeichel. Then I would go with Gianluigi Buffon, and then perhaps Oliver Kahn. I would say he's definitely in the top 5 in the goalkeepers in this game. And it's surprising that they put Cannavaro, but I would say it's even more surprising that they put Oliver Kahn in this selection. And personally, on my free-to-play account, I'm definitely going to go for Oliver Kahn. I think you're never gonna get another chance to get a goalkeeper that highly rated, a defensive goalkeeper, not an offensive goalkeeper, that's even better in the game. He's not gonna push higher up the pitch and make mistake and leave some chances to your opponent. And he's big in size. He's very tall. Unlike, let's say, Casillas, who's the other goalkeeper in this selection, who's like smaller and an offensive goalkeeper, this guy is an absolute beast. And I was quite surprised, actually, that they were going to give this guy out for free. I thought that he was one of these cards that they would never give out, but I guess I was wrong. So the next one is going to be Van Basten. Marco van Basten here, and I'm going to put him in the S tier some people would say, oh, perhaps he doesn't deserve to be there, but I actually think at 86 rated, this guy, he's very, very good. And, they've given out some Van Basten in the past for free, but for me, he's so complete. He's not like the top forward, the top striker in the game, but he has everything. He's tall. He's fast enough. He can do headers. He's dangerous in aerial balls. He's very complete. And so, even though he's not the most impressive striker, he's the type of striker that can definitely carry you, in the upper range of the divisions. And because of that, I'm going to give him the S tier here. And, perhaps some people will not agree, with the some of the other players that I'm going to put and say maybe he should be A. Maybe he's at the limit, perhaps. You could say that the really top S tier would be Cannavaro and Kahn. But for me, I would say Van Basten is definitely one of those players that is amongst the top players in the game. The only thing is that, he is a forward, and you're going to have a lot of free cards, a lot of free attackers in this game. As you can see, in the recent promotion, we had Batistuta, we had Michael Owen. And so, as such, I would say, if you're a free-to-play player and, you're wondering who should I pick to really make my team better, then pick between Cannavaro and Oliver Kahn, because in the future there's going to be some other promotions, and there's going to be some attackers that are probably going to be just as good as Van Basten. But I don't know if you're going to see defenders like Cannavaro and Oliver Kahn in the future, like players of this kind of caliber given for free by Konami. So I would say jump on this occasion to pick either a top defender or top goalkeeper. And personally, on my free-to-play account, I'm going to take the free goalkeeper, the Oliver Kahn, top goalkeeper in this game, because I don't think we're going to see any player like that anytime soon. So next one here in terms of rating is going to be Bebeto. Where is he? Bebeto, and he goes in the A list here. Bebeto, a very, very good player. He has so many stats above 90. He can do it all, he can dribble. He lacks a little bit in passing. Of course, his size is not the greatest. And the only downside I would say for this guy is that he's a poacher, and he's a smaller poacher. Perhaps it would be better if his player ID was, a sort of advanced striker or something like that, or deep lying forward. Also, his passing is not all that great. That's why he has some downsides, and he's not a S tier player. But overall, he is a very good player. He gets the A tier. The next one I'm going to put in the A tier is going to be Forlan. Now, Forlan, a little bit like Bebeto, he is a little bit taller. He's like 180. He has, he's good with his weak foot. But, he is one tier under, I guess, the other cards. And you can see with the rating here, 85 rated, both of them. But Jacob Forlan, definitely a very, very good choice here. So the next one that I'm going to put in the A tier is going to be Caceres. Martin Caceres, here he is. Very good defender. He's an offensive wing back on the left side, and he is right-footed. So, a little bit of a downside here also for him that doesn't allow him to be S tier. But very, very good defender, and there is none other, in this category here that is going to be sort of a wing back here. And so if you're looking for that kind of player, if this is what you're missing in your team, perhaps you should consider this guy. So that's going to be it actually for the A tier. We got 3 players in the S tier and 3 players here in the A tier. Now we're going to go down to the B tier and we're going to start with the highest rated. It's going to be Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes, here he is. He goes in the B tier. And, just because in the B tier doesn't mean that he's a bad card overall. He's still a very, very good card. Just not the best of this selection here. And, he's the first midfielder here, as you can see, to be in that selection. So, if you're looking for a midfielder, then perhaps this could be the guy that you're looking for. A very decent card. And the next one is going to be Xabi Alonso. Just one S here. Xabi Alonso, and it's this one. It's not the Madrid one, it's the Spain one. And he's quite similar, I would say, perhaps to Paul Scholes, even though he's a little bit more defensive than Paul Scholes, and Paul Scholes is a little bit more offensive. And Xabi Alonso, a pretty decent card, and he plays for Real Madrid, so you can play him in the Spanish club event. Both midfielders, these are sort of the only midfielders that you're going to get in this, or the highest rated midfielders at least that you're going to get here in this selection. So if that's the type of position that you want to get, unfortunately they're not giving you top tier midfielders. You're going to get some pretty decent picks, but not the type of S tier kind of players. So the next one is going to be Dragan Stojkovic. Dragan Stojkovic here, also a midfielder, offensive midfielder this time, and he goes here in our B tier. And then some of these players I haven't tried them, so the next ones I'm just gonna go by the stats to try to figure out how they're going to be. But most likely that's how it's going to be. And anyway, now we're going down this tier list, and as you can see, the new players that are added in this list, they're going to be down the list. There are lower rated players, and the reason for that is that I think Konami, they wanted to put some new players for the people who actually buy a lot of cards. Just imagine, this is like the 30th anniversary of the game, and they're giving you free cards, and you've been spending a lot of money, you've been buying all the cards, and then they come up with this promotion, and you get just players you already have. You get double cards, and that's not going to be very nice. That's why they included some new cards that have never been released, and these new cards are lower rated than the other ones, because of course if you're someone who is already paying in this game to have the best players, then Konami probably doesn't need to give you some cards that are going to be so good that you're not going to spend money anymore. So the cards that are going to come, the next ones, they are the new cards, and they are the lowest rated. And so the first one is going to be Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney is still going to be in the B tier here, and he's only 83 rated, as you can see. But he seems to be a pretty decent card, a new card, the first new Wayne Rooney card, and perhaps he'll be the only one with this design. We'll see if they keep going on with this design or not. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other Wayne Rooney cards coming up after that. But here is perhaps your chance, if you're one of those pay-to-win players, to get one of this exclusive limited edition Wayne Rooney, like a collector type of card. But overall, is he going to be, this Pelé-like type of player? No, he's not going to be that. He just gets the B tier in our list here. So the next one here is going to be Gareth Bale. And Gareth Bale here, he is going to go in the C tier. And, we're sort of getting here to the bottom of our tier list. And this Gareth Bale, the stats would indicate that he's not all that great. He's sort of the only one with the Blitz curler. And the Blitz curler is it's a pretty good skill, but you need to have a certain number of stats that make the Blitz curler efficient. You need someone who has a lot of kicking power, someone who has a lot of curl, someone who has a lot of finishing, and perhaps the stats of Gareth Bale, because they are a little bit muted compared to the Champions League version. He's not going to be able to really be all that dangerous with the Blitz curler. So, it's a little bit like when you have an attacker and he has a low finishing stat and then he has phenomenal finishing. It's sort of like it mutes the fact that he has this special ability, the fact that his stats are not all that great. And, unfortunately for Gareth Bale here, and it's kind of understandable that they're not going to give you, a card comparable to the Champions League version of Gareth Bale for free. But so he gets here this C tier list position. So the next one here that we're gonna get, it's going to be Kaka. And Kaka is a little bit in the same position as Gareth Bale here. And we're talking about these new cards. And, like we said, these are cards that are not meant for everyone. They're sort of meant for the people who've been buying a lot of cards and have all the players, and they don't want to have a second Oliver Kahn or a second Fabio Cannavaro. Then you get a chance to perhaps have a card that you will never see again in this game. Kaka, I don't think he's all that good, but, he does play for Real Madrid, so you can play him in the Spanish club event too. And, he's going to be decent, I guess, but nothing exceptional. And then we're going to go with our, next one. It's going to be Puyol. So Puyol, he's a little bit like Cannavaro in a way that he's a smaller defender, but his stats are nowhere near that of Cannavaro. And so, he has the downside of being a smaller player, but he doesn't have the upside of being an absolute beast of a defender. And his speed and acceleration, nowhere near Cannavaro. Cannavaro has like 90s everywhere in these speed and acceleration stats. Puyol is going to be a lot slower. And, once again, this is a card that is not meant for everyone. And so he gets this C tier position here. The next one here is going to be Iker Casillas. And once again, it's sort of a special Casillas card here. And nowhere near as good as the paying version of Iker Casillas, who's actually very, very good. The downside of this card also is that he's a smaller player. So, on the against the Blitz curler, then he's going to have a lot of difficulty, especially that he's an offensive goalkeeper. So he's going to be a little bit far away from his goal line at times. And here, once again, not the best version of this player. And, he gets a C tier position. And so now we have only one player left. And it's going to be the only player that is going to be in our D tier list here. And it's Denilson. And Denilson, they always give him as a free card. Every single promotion has their Denilson, and he gets the D spot, the only D spot in the tier list. Denilson, he's quick, he can dribble, but that's all. He cannot pass, he cannot shoot, and he doesn't have a lot of strength. And I hope for you that if you got the free chance here that you didn't get the Nilsson, but of course, some people will get it, and if you got it, I'm sorry for you. But whatever you do, do not pick the Nilsson as your selection contract unless you have all of these players, which is impossible because at least 5 of them are new cards. So I don't see why you would pick the Nilsson for your selection contract, but perhaps he is included there so that some unlucky people will be stuck with the Nilsson on the chance deal. If you got that, then I'm sorry for you. There's not much you can do with this guy. Perhaps playing him on the wing as sort of like a faraway winger to draw your opponent's defense away from the center while some other striker gets some space to be able to score. He would be a little bit of a dummy runner, but with the ball, this guy, he cannot do much except just dribbling. But that's it, guys, for our tier list here. Once again, if you're thinking of who you should pick here, and you're a free-to-play player, and let's say you're just starting the game, I would say go with either Fabio Cannavaro or Oliver Kahn. And my personal preference is going to be for Oliver Kahn. The reason for that is you have only 1 goalkeeper, and you're probably going to have 4 defenders. And so, in the future, there will probably be some more chances to sign some free defenders, but perhaps this will be your only chance to get a goalkeeper of the caliber of Oliver Kahn in a free promotion from Konami. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.
Hit me with that like, and sub to the channel. Hit me with that like, and click the effing bell. Click that little right. The algo recommends for she don't like. The algo knows you well. Hit me with that like, subscribe to the channel. Hit me with that like, and click the